Ready?
Ready.
Denise, would you lead us in?
Sure. I pledge
pledge
allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, for us, we got an agenda. Is there any additions or changes to the current agenda?
I'd like to add something. I guess it would be a new business. I'd like to talk a little bit more about our volunteer boards.
Volunteer boards?
Mhm.
Go ahead, Don.
Under, I would guess it would be old business, maybe new, but I had a couple calls. I talked to Becky yesterday. Then last night after our board did the budget, they wanted to, I had probably four complaints that we did not televise it. Now I explained to them we hadn't in the past, but they went back to, if it's a public meeting, then why can't it be shown on TV? And I said, well, I will bring it up, we'll talk about it, but it's just something we have not done before. So I'd like to just talk about it and see. They kept asking me why it hadn't been done before. And I don't know the answer to that, so.
All right.
Just a discussion about it, just to kind of settle that.
Any other additions or changes to the agenda? Garrett, you're good? All right. I'd like to take a motion for approve the agenda as amended.
I move to accept the agenda with its additions.
Second.
And properly moved into seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, consent agenda. Does anybody have anything they want pulled from there? The SRI is a continued grant or a project that goes through the assessor's office for GIS. All the rest of it's pretty
I just have a question. Did we
Yeah.
get the dispatch agreement back?
We did. The mayor has not signed it because she's out of town, I guess. But I do have it. They brought it to me.
I just read through it.
I think they,
Looks good.
That's good.
the city council approved her signature on it.
I talked to her this
Once
morning.
she's available. So
Yeah.
just like you guys all approved Ed's
Chairman.
signature on all this stuff. So once he's available, he'll come sign all this stuff. I do have it for you guys to look at the hard copy.
So we have to wait for her signature there before we can send it?
No.
Nope.
Oh, we
can
don't?
do it.
No.
And then I have the two letters from Deb Piana and Becky Todd asking to be appointed to the library board.
Yes. Morning, Stan.
What's this reimbursement do? What's this reimbursement? An error or something?
Do we have to accept now what we have the meeting?
You don't have to.
I was just curious
Yeah.
if that was part of what we did.
at 10 or 9, or I think it's at, yeah, 9:45.
Okay, I was just curious.
Well, it just checks that Bert takes over and that the county gets in. Oh, you
Good Saturday.
So on this we will.
Okay.
So this is the transfer from that cookie into the owners.
So you got password for that. 3 times. Who is it that's,
Tammy Waite and I'm not sure who the other guy
hmm.
is. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you.
Take a motion to approve the consent agenda unless there's something anybody wants to pull off of it.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I second it.
Been properly approved and seconded. All those in favor, or any discussion first? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Alright. Line 10, public comment. Yes, Dan, go ahead.
My name is Stanley Jasinski, taxpayer and landowner in Weston County. Thank you for recognizing me and allowing me to speak. On June 5th, for the last 4 years, 19, 20, 21, and 22, I was a participant and volunteer sponsor of WYAC, the Youth Hunter Education Challenge in Upton. I worked both the Friday setup from beginning to end that day, and all that day on Saturday, the day of the challenge. I was in charge, or not in charge, but one of the people in charge of 22 rimfire. That's the long rifle part of the competition. I worked tirelessly and endlessly to promote WYHEC. June 5th, 5 days before state WYHEC was to take place, I received an email from Rick Rothländer, the state WYHEC director, in his state WYHEC director capacity, saying that I will not be allowed to attend state WYHEC this year due to veiled threats, passive aggressive manner, and occasional outburst. This was ludicrous to me. I couldn't even understand it. So on Friday, like I had for the past 4 years, I showed up at my gun club, which is the Upton Gun Club, to participate in my gun club's hosting a state YHAC. And I reported to Director Rick Roethlisberger, who's also the president of the Upton Gun Club. And I said, Rick, like I had, what's on the list? What needs to be done? He says, you're not to be here. Didn't you know that? Didn't you get my email? I said, yeah, but I didn't understand it. Could you explain what the veiled threats were, what this passive-aggressive manner, any of it? He refused to do that. At some point in the conversation, he said, if you don't leave, I'm going to cancel YHAC. And 87 children will not be allowed to compete because of you. I said, well, Rick, I'm not leaving. I'm a club member. I'll find something to do. And I went over and sat and watched an individual spreading gravel around our new range house, because this was to be the unveiling of a range house that we worked 2 years in banquets and other fundraisers to build, and it's almost completed. I worked the 2 banquets prior to April 1st. I worked the banquet to help raise money for that. The year before, I worked the banquet. The year before that, I was on the banquet committee till about a week before the banquet. So I sat down, and then at some point an individual comes up to me and says, I hear you're not wanted here. And I said, yeah, what do you know? Well, I don't know, I just know that you're not wanted. And I said, well, I'm here and I'm staying. He said, well, I've heard that they called the police on you. I said, well, what do you know about that? Well, I don't know anything, but I'm the one that called the police. So the police were called on me, and Police Chief Susan Bridge from the Upton Police Department responded. And she spoke with me, and I told her what transpired. She spoke to Director Roethlisberger and said, what's the problem? He said, showed her the email, 1 sentence, the only, what I just quoted. She said, well, can you elaborate on these veiled threats? No. Well, does he have to quit the Upton Gun Club? No, he can be part of the gun club, he just can't be part of this event. And then he told her. So this is all on recorded. I recorded my conversation with him. It's on her body cam, Police Bridges body cam. And he said, and if he doesn't leave, and then she said, well, can you show me any guidelines, any violation that I had committed that would allow her to remove me for trespass? Nope. So after hearing his side of the story, she came back to me and said, look, there's nothing I can do, I can't remove you. But he told me that if you don't leave, he'll cancel YHAC, and 87 children will not be able to participate, and he's already started making calls. What the shameful action, what Director Roethlisberger, what President Roethlisberger, what Council Member Roethlisberger did that day was extort me. He held 87 children hostage and extorted me because he knows my care for this event. He knows my care for youth, and he held that hostage. And so for me, as painful as it was, when I was told that, I told Chief Bridge that if that's the case, I'll leave. Otherwise, I would have stayed. This is a violation of so many things. And what this stems from, oh, you know who called the police that day? Ex-Commissioner Tony Barton. The first time he was involved in YHAC in 5 years was that day, and I show up just less than 3 weeks after me filing my complaint here against 2 county commissioners that accused me of a felony.
Hey Stan, Tony's not here to defend himself, so I mean, I get it. You got a few more minutes, but
He wouldn't defend himself that day, Commissioner Todd, either, because he
sorry.
refused to speak on the record. He
Sorry.
refused to speak on. Okay, all right. So, again, I won't talk about him anymore, but he's the guy that called. Every problem that I have in this community stems from this building and the people that worked here, past and present. And I can find that even further. It comes from the people in this room. I do a lot in this community. I brought thousands of dollars in many of the organizations, positions I've held in this community. I get well with all the elected officials. I get well with businesses. I get a well on gun clubs. Everything that I am involved with right now comes from people associated with this room. Here's my complaint that I filed to the NRA against Commissioner, Director, or whatever, not Commissioner, I apologize, Director Rothlinder, President Rothlinder, Councilman Rothlinder. I will give, I guess, if County Clerk Cadillac would pass it out, I have one for each of you and then one for the record. And I'm sorry, I have a right to be angry. I have a right. Everything, the other part that comes from all my problems is my use of my First Amendment right to address my grievances to my elected officials, and they have lashed out. They've accused me of felonies. They've called the police and had me accused of election crimes, and nobody will do anything about it. And so it escalates and escalates and escalates. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jimmy, you're out.
Stan. Come on.
Your
Stan,
phone,
do you want
Stan.
your phone?
Oh, yes, thank you. Thanks.
What do you know?
Did you guys get the paperwork for the next year CMAC project proposal? Everything look okay?
Yep.
They are starting to spray mag on the Graves Road this morning. They started lighting on it yesterday, so hopefully tomorrow or Thursday they'll be done with that. We did get an extension on the MRG money for the Shine River Road. They gave us till March 31st next year instead of January or December 31st, so it does give us another 3 months. Other than that, we're still plugging away on washouts, placing a few cattle guards. We should be ready to start mowing in 2 weeks. That's what I got, I guess.
Storm last night caused any issues you heard
Not
of?
that I know of yet. I haven't been out too many places.
Here was saying something somewhere was
The
washed.
Beaver Creek cut across took a pretty good,
But,
yeah. That's the only place I saw. Our road's not bad, but it looks like it really hit just right there, so.
I know we've got a few spots there we need to fix. I'm waiting to get a guy in town. and
Just,
there's some
it's
spots.
pretty surprising what it did last night, so.
I'll play the hell with my trees here in town.
Ed's not here, so as soon as he gets this done, I'll get him to you guys.
Okay.
Anything for Jim?
We had an estimate from RDO at our last meeting that we pulled. We were gonna pay off of that. Is that gonna be created into an invoice?
Well, I don't know what we're gonna do there, but there was a plan there with, or a problem there. We get billed through Power Plan, through RDO, and we had to actually buy the product before they could bill it. So kind of ran out of time being the end of budget, so I don't know what we'll do there. I may wait till the end of this budget year and see how we're set. And what that was, it's software for Darren to be able to plug into John Deere equipment, so he can get codes off of it. Now, you know, as much of that as we have now, it's kind of nice to have that. Otherwise, we're in the dark, you know.
Mhm. Anything else for Jim?
Appreciate all the hard work, Jim. I know you guys have been working really hard.
Do the best we can, I guess.
You got 10 more minutes if you want to fill it in somehow.
Oh, I'm not very entertaining. I think I'll move on.
Dance jig.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thanks,
see ya.
James. See ya.
You know, it seems how hiring raises isn't really involving, well, it is, but I think everybody's in the room here for that, right?
Yeah.
You guys want to discuss that?
After budget, talking about it, looking at the budget, we thought it would be a good idea to talk about maybe putting a freeze on hiring and raises without approval from the commissioners, at least for the time being. I'll let other people comment on that. I just think it makes sense with where we're at with the budget.
Certainly there.
I agree with him, except I've been thinking about if, you know, if a department head has already built into their budget someone who's been waiting for a pay raise, if they've been here a long time, or, you know, they've already got it built into their budget, I think that would be okay. Or if, you know, if one of the you know, I know like the assessors may lose someone, if that happens, or you want them to come here to get approval for someone new. I mean, they'd already have that budgeted. I'm playing devil's advocate
No,
here.
I hear what you're saying.
So,
Yeah, I think you're right, Vera. For years, it was, until we did that 15%, it was just kind of an understood thing. You didn't do it, but there were still tiers.
mhm.
And I know the sheriff did that on some levels, and I'm sure some of the other offices do it too. So it's a question of, they gotta stay within their budget, but if
Right.
that hiring of or that increase in that individual causes other increases that they don't see out of their budget. So,
Which isn't budgeted for.
yeah, that's not budgeted for. So how do we
So,
get people
how
to
do we do
understand that and not
Well,
harm the,
yeah, I'm sorry.
go ahead.
I thought that's the message that we sent to the library as well, is we can't figure that in as part of her budget, those projections. So the budget is what it is. If they lay it out and they have tiers they go with, at this point, I still think it'd be smart for them to come and, you know, say, hey, we've got somebody that needs to get this, and that way, you know, we're gonna be under some scrutiny to get some other things given to, for example, the library, and getting some things done. I just think that we should avoid as many surprises as we can,
How about
especially with the 15% raise that we gave.
I mean, I guess you could call it a freeze, but maybe something more along the lines of any pay increases need to come in front of the board so that we then have the opportunity, if we have to make adjustments, we're aware of it and it's not just blindsiding.
Because as of right now, where everyone is at is how every other account is adjusted.
Yep.
So if they were to come to you guys and say, hey, if we give this 50-cent increase, we could figure what other accounts would need to be adjusted to accommodate that. And you guys can say, okay, your 50 cents is gonna cost the county an additional $1.50. We can't afford that right now. If you could wait until possibly the tribal funds come in, we could maybe do it and look at it again here. Or, sorry, you're gonna have to hold off till possibly the new budget. Just that one account in theirs may have it, but our other 4 or 5 accounts, because it affects all those other accounts.
I like that term that you're saying, though.
Yeah.
Just a board approval or administrative approval, whatever you want to call it, before any raises or.
It only makes sense. If you're affecting all those other lines, you gotta know that. And it's similar to like the increase in the healthcare that, I mean, a lot of ways that was raised that we swallowed, and it was a heck of a bunch of money. And the unfortunate thing that people that don't take health insurance, they didn't see that increase, you know.
So do you want me to work on a letter and then let you guys look at it first before it goes out to the department heads? You know, the board picked up this 15% increase, which was considered a raise for this year. Please consider, before you give any increase to your employees, it has to come before the board.
I think that'd be a good idea.
Do you think? I agree that would probably be good. And any increase or employment change, I guess.
But, I mean, you could do the same thing by just making a motion with that statement, and then it'd be done.
Right.
You wouldn't have to spend time on a letter.
I'd still send a letter, I think,
Yeah, because they're not gonna know.
unless they read the minutes meticulously, which is probably
No,
not
that's true.
true.
You could give them a copy of the motion, but I'm good for whatever. I like the idea.
If you want to do an emotion, then she could just email that or to everybody, every department head.
I'm okay with it if you are.
I think it'd be fine.
Do you have any comment?
Is it specific entity that we're kind of talking about, or department? I mean, it's gonna be countywide, but probably not all departments are in the same situation.
But if we do a blanket, it'll just cover everybody.
Right, and we cover everyone.
Yes,
Which,
we
I
don't
mean,
know.
under the approval of the board, I mean, I can't imagine why that would be a bad thing anyway. I mean, especially on a budget cut year.
Well, the nice thing too, Garrett, I think is if it comes to the board and it's a valid deal, it gives us the opportunity to figure out where to try to drag funds out of to replenish where we have to, and makes us more responsible for the budget and keeping our eyes on it.
It'll be a lot of accounts. Only two.
Make a motion.
Yeah.
I make a motion to have all hiring and raises for the current time period or current budget year approved by the county. It must come before the county commissioners for approval before completing that. Hopefully that's it.
Close
Second.
So motion has been made to have the current fiscal year, any raises and hiring come before the county commissioners for approval. All right. Is there any discussion?
Will that affect the extension office, who's going to have to replace our
Yeah.
secretary? Abby put in her letter of resignation and her last day is the 31st. So Vicki has the advertisement going out in,
No, because it's already in there for
Yeah,
her
she's
position.
budgeted in.
okay,
It's not a new addition.
okay,
It would affect it if she were to increase the rate, the wage rate.
okay.
But,
Do you want to?
So all
change your mind?
new
yeah.
hiring.
All new,
raises.
yeah.
Well, it would affect if she wasn't taking the insurance the next person was. Then it would affect.
All new hiring raises that increase.
Or additional benefits taken, something like that. Because then you,
Unfortunately though, like with benefits, you won't know until you've hired them if
Yeah.
they'll.
true.
Because, and
I
yeah,
just-
until that you fill out that paperwork.
I think that it's just a matter of getting it in front of the board,
Yep.
and then we know that we have
So-
to start looking.
Adjustments.
Yeah. So
So it would.
if there was an insurance case, I think it would just be a matter of, if they decide to go on, at least we know that it's possible to happen, and we can start looking.
It's the exact advantage to coming in front of the board, as we
Yeah.
know.
So I'll just put all. I'll cross that out and just leave it how it was.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so our position, Vicki has set to go out to advertise tomorrow in the paper.
Okay,
Yeah, she's good.
which
And
is
then-
good.
Okay, with the hope that we'll have someone hired by mid-August.
And you'll let us know whether or not they want insurance or don't, and we assume the wage is gonna be within what you pay now, so that would be the only thing you'd have to just say, hey, let you know, we got,
Okay,
this person doesn't want it or this person does, so we can make our line down and
So yeah, if it
adjustments.
affects the budget differently, they'll have to just come before you guys at the next meeting and we'll have to make adjustments.
Yep.
okay, so yeah, our,
And we wouldn't deny
Applica-
them insurance, just so you know,
Yeah.
we just wanna be able to monitor the budget a little
Okay.
tighter.
so our goal is applications are due August 1st with hopefully we'll interview that Tuesday, Wednesday of the next, the 8th, 9th, whatever that Tuesday, Wednesday is. With a potential start date hopefully of like the very end of August, so.
Very good. There's a motion on the floor. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I think the ayes had it. I heard
Was
one.
that seconded?
Garrett
Gary
seconded
seconded
it.
it.
I didn't hear any no's. All right. take a break for 15 minutes, I guess. How you doing?
Today is going to be,
running down Main Street. It was
right back to a
insane.
cheesy.
Okay, it's on.
I'm good with the cheese.
The recorder's on,
Okay
guys.
with the cheese? Yeah. Oh, sorry.
9:45, fiscal year 2024 budget. We need a board signature on resolution 2320, the adoption of the county budget for fiscal year 23-24.
And a motion to approve.
Yeah, so if anybody would care to make a motion to approve board signature on resolution 2023-20.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2024 budget with the board signature. All right.
Is there a second?
Second?
Which one wants it?
Go ahead and let's hear it.
Any discussion on the motion that's been made and properly seconded for
Bless you.
the board signature on resolution 2023-20? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
Bless you.
Somebody's got to figure out where we're losing money.
Good.
Or how to get more money without taxing people. What were our pill funds like this year? I wouldn't
think
have
they were
it
back
if
up.
this, would you? Really? She wasn't included in any of her report, would she?
Yeah, it should be on it. Is that the one I gave you? Is that the one she gave you?
I took this as the one she gave me.
And then the one she gave me. Yes, I did it on the front.
She got estimate and it stated estimate. Is this all she gave?
That was mine.
She didn't give
I gave
you
you.
the, she didn't give you
Yeah, I
the,
have that.
oh, yes,
Thank you.
suppose there's probably interested parties attending for the 10 o'clock, so I'll take another 10-minute break. Welcome, Amber. 10 o'clock, you got the floor.
The West End sold, so I have a liquor transfer from Rhodey Investment to Waite Enterprises.
Okay. The paperwork's all good.
Yep, it was sent to state and they looked it over and everything looked good.
All right, so we need a motion. What's the names again?
From Rhodey Investment LLC to Waite Enterprises LLC.
Anybody care to make that motion to transfer?
I'll make a motion to transfer the liquor license from Rhodey
Investment.
Investments to Waite, is it Waite?
Waite
Waite
Enterprises.
Enterprises
Second.
A motion made and properly seconded to transfer liquor license from whoever.
Road Investment
Road
LLC
Investment
to
to
Wait
Wait
Enterprise LLC.
All right. Is there any discussion on that? Is there any public comment? Is there any public comment? Last but not least, is there any public comment? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? It's been approved.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Amber.
Brandon might be out. Oh no, he's on this. How many calls
Trying to think if there's anything.
Michael could do a fault side.
What's that?
Michael could do a fault side.
You want to do your vault side, Michael? Or do you want to wait till 11:15?
We can do that now.
Anybody mind moving that up?
I don't.
Okay, let's do it.
You know the history. I don't know if we need to go over it again, but counter offer was 20% on a month-to-month basis. That's the biggest counter offer. So
What was our offer?
it was. %40 until an investment was recouped. After that, 15%.
So they want to, oh, sorry.
Good.
So they want to go 20% month to month.
Yeah.
The stability of the company still a question. Are they struggling? I mean, we accept this and they go under next month. That's still a possibility, or what's your thoughts on
Yeah,
that?
I'm not sure how real unstable they are. That's been their, position. That's why they need to cut this fee down. But I don't know 100% if that's true or not.
And they haven't made a payment for quite some time.
They haven't made a payment?
No.
Since March.
Their initial offer was at 10
Yeah.
prior to our
Yeah.
offer,
Yeah.
the last round, so they've doubled that.
I guess for me, I'd like to see, because I am concerned about the stability of that company, that we accept their offer, but with the contingency that they have to return funds if it's not meet at least a minimum year contract, so that we're not fighting this every month. The investment we're gonna have to do to put back into this, if we have to get another system going, I would be okay with that amount, myself personally, as long as we had a contingency of a year contract or the return of a certain percentage of funds that we've invested in.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
I do. I let you know this. They did say that this was their last effort and final offer.
Yeah.
So you know that.
Yeah, that's, I'm sure it is, so.
So you're saying, Commissioner Taylor, you want some sort of safety net in case they go under?
Yes, because if we haven't gotten a payment, my suspicion is that this company is really on shaky ground, and we need to have some kind of a parachute there if we need it, because we may have to reinvest into another to get this service going.
I don't want them to completely shut us off.
That's one thing I'm concerned.
But if they go under,
But we rely on them, the assessor's office relies on them. I don't want them to completely shut us down and we are left without an online service and then they just say tough bounds and we do have to completely start over because they just said we're done and we're going to shut you off.
Our service with this company, they've always serviced us the files and whatnot. We've just noticed like a random payment.
No, they've always made a monthly payment. Ever since they threatened to shut us off and stop our service, they've just sporadically been making the payments for our service. But the last payment I think that we received was in March. Ever since the negotiations have been. Mm-hmm.
So there should be back money in there at
Yes.
least. So,
Well, yeah, you know. I mean, we talked about the contract. Piece of art it was. I don't know, I don't think you're gonna, I mean, again, you guys don't have much leverage here. I mean, at all. So I don't think you're gonna get any higher than this 20%. It's gonna take, what, 10 years to have that paid back?
close.
Yeah. The investment. But if you guys want me to fish around on maybe a longer term,
That's what I'm hoping for, at least to have some stability.
In this, is it, if we were to accept the 20%, is this a yearly contract or a 5-year, I mean 10-year? Where we at with that?
they want month to month.
Yeah, and that's where
So month to month, it could be different next month.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Minimum 1-year contract is what I'm thinking.
You guys said 5 last time. 5 years.
I don't think the month to month is stable enough. I mean, we could be talking about this at every meeting.
I concur.
So on their last and final offer, I would say that's, I mean, 20% is fine, but we need a minimum of 1-year contract. And the back pay they owe us.
I can float that out just so that, again, you know, they've been threatening to shut us off since January, right? They were something.
What are we doing about collecting the back money they owe us?
Nothing yet, but we will make that part of the deal.
What would be the immediate ramification if they shut us off? And how long would it take us to?
So it took them years to scan everything. I don't know how long it would take a new company to come in and rescan all of our books and
The cost associated.
Would it need to be rescanned though? I thought about that more. Isn't it saved somewhere else? Not saved anywhere else?
well, they have their jump drives, but when I talked to another company before, they had came in and they didn't realize that our documents had been scanned. They said they could not use what Vaultside had already scanned and saved on the jump drives because they do it differently because Vaultside did not,
From the get-go.
when they scanned it, Weston County was the first company that they had done it for. So the documents are not searchable online, like you can't type in Michael Stolken and it bring up every document for Michael Stolken. The other companies do make everything searchable online. Like I type in Michael Stolken, it goes clear back to when Weston County first started and they can find everything that pertains to Michael Stolken. So the new companies scan the documents differently so they're searchable. Vaultside just went in and scanned all the stuff. So we do have what they scanned up until a certain point on a hard drive. It's not able to be used by these other companies that would come in and rescan our books. So we're kind of between.
They got us.
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
Good.
Again, I mean, they owe us money. We have a contract with them on that, so we should be able to start there. Even
Yeah.
without this agreement, or if they went out tomorrow, if they went under today, they'd owe us still the back money they owe us, which would put us even further in the hole for having to get somebody else. So I think, my opinion is that needs to be a priority, is to go after what they owe us.
Oh, yeah.
Agree with it. I mean, but not yet. We're talking March, so
We were trying to
April,
get this
May,
done.
June,
and then-
July, I mean, we're 6 months.
We're trying to get this done, and then, as I said, like, the term of the contract, like we talked,
They
I
would
don't
just
know
pay
who,
for
again,
a
who
month.
drafted the contract, but it says there's an initial term, and then after that,
What is
it
that?
says
3,000
nothing
a month.
about terms.
Is this a new contract, or is this the original one we signed?
This is the original one from like 2018.
So we would have had to have reviewed that, right? Or we just signed a contract and the attorney didn't look at it?
Yeah, since 2018.
Yeah, they were the ones, Jill and
Curly.
Mr. Curley were the ones that did it.
So we don't have, with the contract, there was no ownership for the county on all of the stuff.
Yeah,
that
we
was
own
scanned.
those, but
But nobody's claiming that they can use it.
no.
No, it'd be kind of information. It's just getting
It's
it
just
back.
not user friendly to a new company that would,
Because there's not many companies around. And apparently, the vault side does it different than every other.
Is there any way we could ask them to produce something longer than a month to month without putting or else, I guess, in the language?
yeah, I think they'll say if you're giving us the or else, they're just gonna go, we're done. You know what I mean? This is our final offer.
I thought they had said that before, but I'm just.
If we've said that to them before,
No, we haven't said that. I think they've said it. I'm just playing with fire a little bit with these guys because they have such the bargaining power, you know.
Andrew?
Well, I'm thinking that I don't think they'll cut us off if they're making money on us now. I can't imagine if they cut us off because we asked for a 12-month contract, they're in bad shape anyway. They're going under. I mean, if
And
they
they
say,
lost
no,
money.
we're cutting you off because you want 12 months guaranteed 20%, they're going down anyway. But if they're making money off of us at this point, I really don't think if they're squeaking by at all, they're not going to cut us off.
I kind of I'm on board with you that we're riding a bad horse here, and it's
Yeah.
yeah.
can we go 6 months?
I mean, most companies want you in a long-term contract. If they don't want you in a long-term contract, there's something wrong.
I mean, I looked again. They did say Friday, June 9th. This is our upper limit. It's 15%. Just how comfortable. Well,
It may happen either way.
If they cut us off, what does it do for getting? I mean, I understand it's a long process, but
Well, you guys probably have to cut into the reserves because we do not have it in the budget. It's gonna be a huge amount of money. It's gonna tie up our vault from the public using it because, like I said before, it took them, I think, well over a year to scan it. They have to take all the books apart. They have to bring in huge machines downstairs. And whether they're even available to come right now to do it. I mean, we'd have to schedule it. We'd have to find a company that's available to come and scan them.
Our, not supposed, I guess is the word I'm looking for, desperateness for this service is putting the ball back in their court to basically bend us over. They owe us money. I don't think they're gonna bulk on a contract extension. I agree with Vera that a longer contract, but a 1-month contract, we're gonna be doing this every month if we don't get this pinned down. And what have we lost if we don't? We're not collecting money, apparently, that we should be collecting, which affects our budget, which affects those things. So this is a poker game, and I don't think we should give them, we already don't have a lot of leverage. Why give them more by our desperateness to have this service? This is a bad deal. It should have never been signed, and the contract sucks. That's as plain as you can make it. So why are we negotiating with this? I don't like rewarding bad behavior, and that's pretty much what we're doing.
I mean, I agree on the month-to-month issue. 20%. It's better than shut off and pay another $125,000.
What the board want to do?
I
Yes,
move
sir.
to take the 20% and request a 12-month contract.
I'll second that.
Okay. It's been properly moved and seconded to on the 20% and a year contract. Discussion.
I have 2 questions. One, can a mechanical lien be applied?
No, this is not that kind of.
It's not that kind. Okay. Second question, it's more technical. When you scan any kind of document, it falls into several different types of formats, okay? And all those formats do share linkability to each other in some way, shape, or form. Not unless somebody has a proprietary system that I have not heard about. So the other company that says that they can't use it, I'm sorry, but
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking they're using it as, well, we need paid to come back and
and that's
yeah.
my point that
Yeah.
I'm trying to make, is that all of those formats
Yeah.
are interchangeable.
So I think in the short term, we need to reach out to anybody we can and see if there is somebody that would potentially be able to use those and enter a contract with us to provide services with it, and because I think we're riding a dead horse. So, all right, any other discussion? Stanley?
Just a point of interest, why they probably want to go on month-to-month basis. Commercial real estate in this country over the next year, a lot of mortgages and leases are coming due, and companies, particularly small businesses that got 0% interest for 10 years, are now getting forced to renegotiate for 7% leases and mortgages. Okay, it's going to collapse a lot of small businesses in this country, but that might be one of the reasons that they want to go month to month. So something for you to consider as well.
Thank you.
Call. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
In addition to the weekly printed version of the newsletter journal, we also promote our community and share important information on our award-winning website, newslj.com, and in our weekly email newsletter, Nuke Now. We also connect with readers through various social media platforms and invite you to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can even take a look at a recent meeting of the City Council, School Board, or County Commission on our YouTube channel. We do hope that you will go to newslj.com and subscribe today, and we look forward to making all of our great content available to you. But regardless of your level of support, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts for doing your part to preserve a free and independent local press.
All right, we went a little over time. Back to EMS district.
So
10:15.
Ed was the one that wanted us on,
Was he?
so
Who?
Ed,
Yeah.
He didn't
Well,
convey any info to me that he was wanting to discuss, unfortunately, but yeah.
Can I just throw 2 cents at y'all? That's part of why I came. I've been talking to Gillette a little bit.
Name again.
Oh, sorry,
just for
Judd
the-
Dawson, sorry.
Yeah,
I forget protocol.
no problem.
So in speaking with Gillette EMS people, and just so you know, I'm the new CEO over the hospital. And prior to that, I worked with the line providers, and we worked with a lot of different hospitals throughout Wyoming, Gillette being one of them. So I know some of those people. That doesn't mean that I'm in their back pocket or I favor them or anything like that. But overall, starting an EMS company up from scratch, because we did that in Kimball, was very difficult. And we had an EMS director just living down the road that we could tap, and then we had EMT techs working in the hospital already who could help us get that program off the ground, and it was still difficult. And speaking with Chris earlier this week, so he's their EMS director over there, they need about $20K in coverage from you all to help keep the ball in motion. We have gotten 5 more people to apply to the program. I'm just kind of spitting facts at y'all so we can talk. We've gotten 5 more people to apply to the program over there to be either educated or EMS with them. Their end goal for us in Weston County is 8 full-time employees, 16 part-time employees. So a pretty robust program if we can help them get those people. I've been talking to people about getting scholarships. It's a $1,100 fee to go to college for that over in Gillette. They're willing to reserve spots for Weston County people and give priority to them. So I think there's a lot of good things starting to happen with their program. And I just wanted to let you know those things prior to making any decisions on your behalf, because my understanding, and maybe I'm wrong, was that there was consideration of funding that program, at least in part, for you all.
Right now, we gave them 30 for this fiscal year, so I think our intention at this juncture is to move forward with them and hoping that they can make something bloom that'll work for the county.
And I think they really want to. Matt and Chris, Matt the CEO, Chris the EMS director, they really, I think, want to play ball with us. That's my honest impression. And I work for you all now. I don't owe allegiance to anybody. I would throw them under a bus if it was appropriate. It's not appropriate. I think they're acting with our best interests at heart.
It's good to know. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate it. Anybody else got anything they need to talk?
When Gillette took over, or Campbell County took over as the ambulance service, we as a board sat in front of them, and by no means am I confused that they went into this as a business and that those funds go to Campbell County. There is some benefit to having it here, and the hospital, I wished would have taken over the hospital, would have taken over the ambulance service just to keep it into Weston County. However, I'm also not a fan of, now that the service is here, the cost for us to do an EMS district would be a lot greater than I think people realize. It's not as simple as people make it. We just start this up and here we go. So I'm also in agreement with Commissioner Todd that currently that position may change at some point if the service, we need a better service. And I realize we're shorthanded everywhere, so we need to work with that as well. So I appreciate you coming in and giving us those numbers, because we have not been updated on those. So thank you for doing that.
And that was my worry. And they're also going to do a lunch and learn later this week here to try and get more people to come. I've been handing out flyers. They've been handing out flyers. And from my point of view, sorry, was I supposed to raise my hand again?
No, you're good.
I just get to talking to people. From my point of view, if we can ramp it up, and let's say we get them their 8 and their 16 like they want, and then something unreasonable happens, we're in a much better position then, because we have already trained employees if we needed to toggle over to a different format. And so I think giving them an honest try makes tons of sense right now.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you.
Sure. And I have to run to another meeting, so if I excuse myself, is that okay?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll break for 5 minutes. This next one, I assume that's why most folks are here, or a lot of these folks.
Like to make a comment?
And just so everybody knows, as you prepare to speak, say your name so that the recording can hear it and the folks up here knows who's talking. And us. Everybody ready? All right. Go ahead, sir.
I'm Ron Hartman, new to you folks. We've owned our property 12 years. Moved here 2 years ago. I'm dumbfounded. I'm confused. 10 days ago, I brought a package to be given to you. And I understand you're looking at it for the first time. When I worked with the county in the state I was in, a package going to the commissioners was to go to the commissioners as requested by a citizen. Why? Why haven't you had it for 10 days?
Sir, it was emailed to us. I've seen that.
Oh, you have seen
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Okay, I misunderstood then.
Yeah, sorry for that.
I
Go
don't
ahead.
remember seeing the map, but that could be me.
Okay, I
I would
misunderstood.
assume the map couldn't go on a scan. So my name is Tricia Bauman, and I'm here representing the county of Crooked. Our mayor is Willard Heap. You all know Willard, who declared us Crooked County, which we don't. So Willard's been in here 2 or 3 times asking for assistance on our road, which is Lookout Mountain Subdivision, which is 10 miles east in Whoop-Up Canyon. And I watched Willard on video the last time in the meeting, and he was told that at the very least we would need a petition from the residents in Lookout Mountain to even look at this issue. And I knew that Willard wasn't the type of person who was going to be able to put that together and get signatures. So several of us, the Hartmans and the Franzes, got together to try to put this together and just see what would happen. To begin with, we're not asking for everything. We're asking for anything we could have out in that subdivision. We feel that we're different than other subdivisions because our road access is BLM, and our plat says that the roads are, I believe the wording is, for the enjoyment of all Weston County residents. So we're on the one hand considered private with no public maintenance, but we're public access because any of us can, of course, invite people on that road, but it seems to me that anyone in this whole county can invite people onto that road. And if it accesses BLM, everybody can drive on that road. And so for the last 40, 50 years, we built that road and have been maintaining that road. And I think Willard's probably got $50,000 in it. I know I have 15,000. I know another person that has 15,000, and lots of other people thousands. And we're to a point with age and retirement that we can't do that anymore. So we have these roads that have a base, and they're the fine width for us. Our easement is 70 foot wide. We don't need 70 foot wide for us. They have decent ditches, but we don't have a crown. So at some point, Hartmans have pictures of what happens to our road, but you probably can imagine if you don't have a crown, and we just got that monsoon last night, our whole road has trenches down it now. And we're unable to deal with it. We're either going to have to drive on it that way or get some help somehow. So what we've put together is a public purpose petition, and it says to improve and maintain the existing roads in our subdivision as referenced by Willard Heap. The roads are shown on the map showing the links of the roads. They're all color coded. The building and maintenance has been an unfair distribution of cost among the residents and has resulted in controversies and legal education between neighbors. We have currently 27 households out there. There's also more land that's for sale, and I don't know who owns that, so those people haven't been contacted, but there's probably at least 3 or 4. I'm saying there's over 30 properties. Most of the roads are approximately 20 to 30 feet in width, and we are content with that. And I'll add right here that everyone who signed our petition is also content with changing the status of the road to be a county right-of-way, if that's what we would need to do. The easement's actually 70 feet wide, and we don't need that. And the total distance of those color-coded roads is 6.5 miles of road, if you add them all together. We have non-resident use of these roads, recreation, agriculture, firefighting, medical needs, parcel delivery, and access to BLM. We're having difficulty maintaining due to increasing traffic. They're lacking an adequate crown. We're also lacking any signage. So like when we have an intersection, you know, people from my age know to yield to the person on the right, but I don't know if that's still a thing now. But there's been a few close calls out there. And we have no road signs. So like when we get a delivery, you got Whoop-Up Canyon, Ferguson Canyon, Cedar Glen, State View, you know, but nobody knows which is what or what. Second page. The residents currently performing this work, we can't be relied upon anymore due to age and finances. So scope of work is, we're hoping to bring the roads highlighted on the map, as is, where is, to better standards with a crown, signage, and road names. And then any maintenance we could get. If we don't get any maintenance, we would take that over and maybe just have like some new gravel every few years. And we would be willing to spread it and deal with potholes and stuff like that. I don't know if that's a possibility. So request for action is we ask the commissioners to initiate a grant request from the state of Wyoming, which I think is possible, for signage and gravel. And we ask the commissioners for support in planning and continued maintenance of those roads. And once again, we have people out there with equipment and willing to help, but it's too much for us. My final page is special notes. Of the 27 households, 20 of those households signed this petition, and I'm assuming you have a copy of the signatures. If not, we can get copies for you. 3 did not wish to sign, 1 wouldn't commit, and 3 didn't get back to us. We don't know. So 20 out of 27 were looking for help. I've already covered that. Currently there is buried water line, phone line, electric line, and fiber optic along these roads. We are content with as is, where is, of these buried lines and where the roads are. So we don't want to like start some big thing where we got surveyors and moving lines and stuff like that. We're content with our width. And then in dark on my final page, it says residents are open to any and all options from the county or state for help. We're willing to have the roads redesignated as county right-of-ways if we have to. Thank you to the commissioners for consideration.
Would you mind if I make a comment? Can I address you guys? Again, Ron Hartman. In a previous state, living on an area like this, Jan and I spent hundreds of hours, and we got $55,000 awarded to the county and the Forest Service because of the road situation. We went to the RAC committee, which I'm sure you guys are aware of, Resource Advisory Committee. And I think every county has access to a RAC committee, which is volunteers. Do you guys have a RAC committee?
Say that again?
Do you guys have a RAC committee that you work with?
Not that I'm aware of.
It is a volunteer basis of actual residents of the area. We got $55,000, which helped immensely. It might be one more resource for you guys to check and look into. I'm just bringing it up. It was in the past.
It is also connected with the BLM here in Wyoming, which we did not understand why. So we haven't looked into that yet, this RAC committee. But so much money goes to the counties in the way of
And the county assigns it.
See, we have agreements with most of our agreements, like with the Forest Service and stuff, are we help maintain some of those roads and that go out through. But I'm telling you, maintain might just mean a blade runs over it once a year and that's it. I mean, it's probably not gravelled and stuff like that.
But the blading was one of the issues when we came from the other state. And by blading, they were able to crown the road. And that was one of the advantages of it. And so if we can be of any help to you in looking anything up at any time, please feel free to ask.
I appreciate that. So I was looking on the maps here. This country down below here, is that where they're going to BLM? They're coming through all this road,
If I
and
may,
there's some BLM down here.
to get to BLM, you come off the highway and you go up Cedar Glen Drive to State View and take a left, and this is the BLM.
That's the chunk they're accessing.
Yep.
So I wonder if there's ability to maybe appeal to the BLM on that chunk of road. We're not going to get any help on the rest of it, probably.
Got a map?
But, yeah, go ahead.
My question is what you were saying earlier, Patricia, about, is there somewhere that it says that road is supposed to be for private, or it welcomes all, you were talking about welcoming all citizens? And what I'm looking up is, in creating a Wyoming County road, and you mentioned one part of it where it says an acquisition of a right-of-way, so to create a county road, the county must own the land or an easement right-of-way over the land. The county may not acquire a right-of-way, may acquire it in 3 ways: agreement, donation, or purchase, taking, and prescription. A county may require a right-of-way, a perception or perceptive of easement simply by a long period of public use and maintenance doesn't count it as a county road. So, that's the first hurdle, is I don't think we own any of that, do we?
But we could be given an easement. Is that correct? We could give the county an easement.
Donation, correct.
Yeah.
You could, but you'd still have to go through. Then there's the initiation of establishment process. Regardless of how acquired or how long owned and used, a right-of-way is not a county road until established according to the statutory process in effect at the time. If it hasn't been established as a county road, then you have to establish it as a county road. You can do it under Title 24, which I crossed back to that, where it said, any person whose land has no outlet to nor connection with a public road may file an application in writing with the Board of County Commissioners in the county where his land is located for a private road leading from his land to some convenient public road. The application shall contain the following: legal description, specific statement as to why the land has no legally enforceable access other than a waterway.
That's different. That won't work at all.
That won't? No? Okay.
That's accessing private land that's landlocked, basically.
Right.
Well, I'm just going back on what I was saying, how to make it a private road. They were saying that's a possibility, so that's why I was kind of going through it. But
Did you guys buy, when you bought the land, was it from the Lookout Mountain subdivision organization?
It was from Gene Mahoney straight out. He sold the pieces.
So he's the one that created the subdivision?
Yes.
And I guess it'd be interesting to look at the track, or whatever's in the books as far as, I could sell you a piece of land in the same way and say, but everybody can use the road to your house,
So if I may, I came in and looked at the plat and read it, and I tried to take a picture of it, but it's that huge map that's got like a transparency, and my photo wouldn't come out, and then Becky tried to scan it and you can't read it. But it's private with an easement through private property, with no public maintenance, And then farther on down, it says, these roads are for the enjoyment of all Weston County residents.
So technically, I mean, you guys are buying property. You probably didn't look at the map that said that this will not be maintained.
No, I looked and I knew when
Prior to
I got
buying
into
it,
this.
you knew what you
There's
was
no
doing,
way we
but-
didn't know what we were buying. I'll give you that.
Okay. What do you think, Michael? I mean, is there, what avenues do you think?
I'm not sure of the authority on that. I mean, as we were talking a little bit earlier, as far as the establishment of grant authority, I appreciate the RAC idea. We don't have anything like that around here. I would like the opportunity to talk with a couple folks and look into this, see if there's something available, especially with our resident property expert up at Sundance. I'd like an opportunity to do that, just so we can explore all alternatives here.
That would be fabulous.
Yeah, there's 5 or 6 of you, these kind of things in the county existing already that doesn't have maintenance, and everybody probably got into it knowing that.
But do they have access to BLM, and do they have access to everybody in the county, or are they private?
Yeah, I don't know.
I believe we are unique.
I
And
find
we
it
have access to public, and we also have access to every citizen in Weston County and anybody they want to invite.
kind of an interesting way he put that.
Yeah.
Put it.
I have a question that you may know, Tricia. Because you were some of the original people out there, when you bought your land, does your land include like out to half the road? Or was the road kept separate by Mr. Mahoney? Do you know?
It was kept separate, so it does not follow county lines, or property lines.
Right.
So like part of the road's all the way on mine, and then it'll veer onto his, and it might be half his and half hers up here. The roads don't have anything to do with the property lines.
So there's more like easement through property
Yes.
for the road instead of keeping the road separate or splitting it half and half with the
Right.
two properties.
It is a private easement for a road, so I pay the property taxes on the part that goes through mine. But there's an easement for 70-foot wide. Public utilities can vary there. That's
So
in
does your
there.
easement say everybody on top has an easement through your property?
Yes. Well, the whole county does, has an easement through my property. It's for the enjoyment of-
Do you have an actual easement in the books recorded?
No.
Yeah, this is kind of a weird deal. I don't know.
Yeah, it is.
It is. And you know, we've struggled hard, and you got some people that won't help at all, and some people putting $50,000 in it, and maybe that's just our problem. But I look at access.
In your warranty deed, does it say that there's an easement through your property?
I
Because
would-
sometimes that happens.
I would have to look that up.
Okay.
Do you aware, Michael, of anywhere they could go for looking for grants for, I mean, if this is truly was designated by an individual to be for public enjoyment, I guess, is there entities out there in the state of Wyoming that help fund road repair and stuff to?
I'm not aware of any. There might be. I don't know off the top of my head.
We could look, there's tons of grants.
Yeah, there's lots of stuff out there, but I just don't know any specifics right now. Look into it.
I'm not sure if it's.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I get it. I feel for you guys, and I think it's a valid problem in a lot of situations, and people create these things for residents to live on and don't think of the consequences,
Yep,
unfortunately.
yep.
This is my last comment. Yes, we knew when we bought 12 years ago, but everything changes, as you know.
Yeah.
And as it changes, there are more houses. I've got a new house as of 2 years ago. And things change. And that's why we're here looking to see what we can do for the future. And that's why we're asking for your help, whether it be through a RAC, whether it be through the county, however it is. Just work together with us.
I think a good step would be for Michael to visit with the gentleman in Crook County, and then I bet you that would probably give us a good step along that path. And maybe there's something easier than actual creation of county road that he would have an idea to look for as far as a grant. I mean, Crook County's, they're drowning in this problem up there, so I bet you they would have information for us that would, and we can add you to old business and try to.
The grant that we obtained was for repair of and maintenance of a road that was on an easement. It was not owned by the folks.
Was it leading to, say, some recreational point, potentially?
Yes, there were 2 sections of private land involved. And beyond that private land, there was one road in, one road out. And beyond that was thousands of acres of forest service for recreation, yes.
That's why I was kind of alluding to, I would think that there's something out there that would help fund that kind of stuff, some entity for that case.
Well, I think this is where basically if your county attorney and a little research is done, I think the RAC can be of help.
Sorry, Patricia, just a sec, please. Do you know what RAC stands for?
Sure, Resource Advisory Committee. And it was made up of 7 members who volunteered their time and service. And I think they volunteered for 3 years at a period. I'm not sure that part.
And this was a county organization, not a, so every county had one of these?
I can't answer with every county I lived in.
Gotcha, okay.
Well,
Go
I
ahead,
believe
Patricia.
in your case, Ron, that went through public land though, right?
No.
You went to
No, it was
went
through
private.
private
Oh, okay.
land. It was an easement over private land, 5 miles.
Okay. I think, I was just sitting here crunching some numbers, and I looked at those roads and thought 2,000 tons of gravel would do enormous things, which is about probably $16,000 in gravel, and I don't know how much more in hauling. And then if we add some signs, I would say this whole project to get us going is only $20,000. And, you know, maybe we have to do it again and not to this extent, but maybe like every 5 years or something to that point where we can maintain them if that's legal for us to touch a county right away. You know, we're open to absolutely anything, and we're not looking for hundreds of thousands of dollars, and I think that's an important point as well, that Mark and I kind of scoped it all out, and we're like, you know, 2,000 tons would, it's only 6.5 miles, so it would give us a good crown and it would last for years.
Thanks, Patricia. All right. We are a little bit behind. We have a call for the BLM, but I appreciate you guys coming in. Can we add it to old business and give Michael some time to do some research?
Okay.
And I'll try to see if there's some sort of on this resource advisory committee in my free time.
And if I can help you get any information from
give me your
Mark County,
give me your phone number.
307, of course, 941.
Got it.
0096.
Okay. All right. Sorry, we got to move on to the other deal, but I appreciate you guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
You bet.
Hey, Ron, the BLM's next.
What?
BLM.
Oh,
Can we keep the little one?
can you keep this?
What's that? Can we keep this little one?
Can
Yeah,
you hear?
absolutely.
Yeah,
We should
sure.
have a bigger one flying around somewhere. Okay.
Sorry, Jeannie, we're a little.
Make a copy of it.
Yeah.
No problem.
But it's a good cause. Figure it out.
She's right there. Oh, well then I won't plug this in.
You hear us, Drew?
I am, Commissioners.
Hi, Drew. Ed's gone today. I'm running the meeting for this little get together, but Jeannie's here in attendance. You may not be able to see her, but you have the floor, or Jeannie, whoever would like to start.
Great. I think I'll start, and then I'm going to turn it over to Jeannie to add the specific things that she's working on. It's nice to see you this morning, and it's great to be able to be on virtual, so it's actually great to see you guys. Thank you. So I really just want to give you a quick update on the BLM Newcastle RMP revision, a quick update on the Black Hills National Forest revision, and then a quick update on sage grouse. I'm going to start with probably the biggest one today, which is the BLM. As all of you know, we've been working with Commissioner Todd. The BLM has posted in the Federal Register the scoping notice for the Newcastle RMP revision. Because the first round of meetings was not during the scoping notice process, we're going to do a second round. We're hoping to get better participation and turnout from all 3 counties involved. And your meeting is going to be on August 1st from 5 to 7 at the Senior Center. And I will be drafting comments for you. We are working on sage grouse that has a deadline before this one, so I will give it to you and hopefully for review at your second meeting in August. And comments will be due on August 25th. So with that, I am not going to be able to make it over to your public meeting from previous commitments, but Jeannie will be there. So Jeannie, if you want to take a couple minutes and just outline for the commissioners the outreach that you're doing, that'd be great.
Sure. Thanks, Drew. I've attended 2 of these meetings, the open houses here in town at the Senior Citizen Center, and there's been like no people from Weston County appear, maybe 1 or 2. You did have Representative Slagle appear at this last one. So right, the outreach has got to be done. I will tell you the night before that in Sundance, Senator Lummis's staffer was there and chewed him out pretty well for not giving notice. So don't feel bad that you didn't get notice because a lot of people didn't. So we're going to do better on this. Drew, I talked to Caleb Carter today, so we're partnering with your conservation district. And I do have an ad in the official county newspaper that's going. I'm going to talk to them about, that's the Weston County Gazette. I'm going to talk to them later on about maybe doing an article. But in this week's paper, the notice is in there on the front page and then the ad that I paid for. Caleb is handling the News Record Gazette, and he's already got it on his websites and as much outreach as he can do. So I think we got a good start. I've also heard Commissioner Kelly Dennis is a BLM leasee, and he got a written notice. So I think we're going to do well here. So yeah, things are moving along.
So commissioners, if there's anybody else that we need to do any outreach for to get better attendance at the meetings, please just let Jeannie know, or if Becky could assist in sending something out. Anything we can do to increase attendance would be great.
You bet.
Yeah, you got a county website or
If you
something?
want to give me something, I'll put it on
Sure
your
can.
website.
Thanks.
Thanks, Jeannie.
Go ahead, Drew. Sorry.
Oh, any questions on BLM?
Anybody? Nobody's raising their hands, Drew.
Okay.
There's a question.
Oh, sorry.
Do we have an overview of what this meeting is about? What are we doing?
So this is the beginning of the NEPA process for the BLM to revise the resource management plan for Newcastle, which includes Crook County, Weston County, and Niobrara County. So what the land use plan, what the resource management plan does is it looks at land use allocations. So it's important to look at what you're currently operating under for fluid minerals, for grazing, for recreation, for access, for all of those things. If you are in or near or utilize BLM surface or BLM minerals, this plan will impact future use. So if you're at all interested in what's happening now versus what's going to change going through this plan, it would be very important for you to show up to this public meeting to understand it and express your concerns. One of the things that we continue to be concerned about is the expansion of potential special designation areas, which would put certain restrictions on your ability to access public lands, possibly. So it's important that not only the county, but the residents of the county probably understand what's happening and provide comments where you think it impacts you.
If I could add one more thing, I took notes at the last public meeting they had here, and people were talking about, you know, recreation, how some people come and trash the grounds, and it's not just bad things, it's good things. What is working? What does work? You guys have 78 grazing leases in this county. Is it working for you? What do you want changed? Do you recreate here? What do you want changed? Do you not? Do you want to leave things the way they are? And one of the things Crook's going to be looking at is the land tenure, which would be land swaps. There's a bunch of little parcels of BLM might be surrounded by private land or something. There's an opportunity now to be able to do some kind of a swap or a buy or something like that. BLM is quite interested in getting rid of some of these parcels that they can't even get on or can even use.
I have a
So we
question.
encourage you all to show up.
Gentleman in front here has a
I have a
question.
quick question. Is this, without putting it in 10 words or so, an attempt by BLM to expand their acreage?
I do not believe so. This is a part of the process they're required to do. Every 15, 20 years, they're required to update their land management plan, their resource management plan. I do not see anywhere in it yet. It's just the beginning of the process, but I don't see anywhere in it yet where they're looking to acquire lands without doing some sort of, you know, net zero increase of public land. So it's really land allocations on how they're utilizing the land, what they can utilize it for. Are there going to be further restrictions? I would be more concerned about further restrictions or requirements on the use of public land than I would be on trying to buy or increase public land as a net gain.
Thank you.
Sage grouse is big, so if there's places where you recreate that they're gonna potentially designate as sage grouse ground, that may impact your recreation time frame. Grazing allotments, some of them are certain times of year you can graze it, some of them are yearly. It just depends on what you have.
Right.
But status quo may not stay the same as what's happening, and if you are interested in some format of a piece of government ground that you recreate on or utilize, whatever, or would like to see stay the same potentially, its access, then I think that's a lot
I
of
don't
that.
want any of their land, but I don't want them to have any of my land. That's what I'm after.
Yeah.
Can I ask?
Yeah. Go ahead.
I just want to make one more quick comment, Drew, and you brought the sage grouse up. One of the things that is in the works is the endangered species status of the northern long-eared bat. That's going to affect a lot of people. And they're still making the rules.
Bend over, it won't hurt.
And we got to thank Senator Lummis's office. Whatever we do is not going to bring this bat back. It's because of a disease. So you were right, sage grouse and probably the bat is going to be a big issue in a lot of this public ground.
And that bat is going to affect our forestry work a lot, I think.
Yep.
So just real quickly on that, Jeannie's correct. The sage grouse we're trying to prevent from becoming listed on the Endangered Species Act as threatened or endangered. So that's what we're working on with the state right now, but the BLM is also going through an effort. So the commissioner is right. We are watching that. Regarding the long-eared bat, they're changing the designation from threatened to endangered, which means it's at its heightened level And so the restrictions with that are going to be very stringent. And Commissioner, you're correct, it will affect the timber industry during the months of the year that the timber industry has access to cut timber. So it's going to be a big deal. But that's going to happen regardless of this plan, because the Endangered Species Act applies regardless of land ownership once a species is listed.
Any other things you wanted to bring, Drew, or discuss?
Have we what? I'm sorry.
Hey, I'm sorry. Any other things you're wanting to bring up or talk about?
Not on BLM. I would just say if you're interested, you can log on to the BLM website for Newcastle, or you can stop down at the BLM's office and you can get maps and you can look at what they're talking about before August 1st. So I think with that, I'll give a quick update on the Black Hills, if that's okay, Commissioners.
Yeah, thanks for adding that last part. I think that'll help people to, if they can get access to that.
Yes, and Jeannie can help you as well, so don't be afraid to ask her before she walks out the door. Regarding the Black Hills, so we've had kind of a little bit of slowdown. There's a lot of staffing issues going on in the Black Hills office right now. So we're concerned not only with staffing from the specialist side, but also from the supervisor side. We're working through some of that stuff. The NEPA process has not started yet, so we are not in the middle of that. And one of the messages that we have told the governor's office is until we get some of these staffing issues nailed down, we shouldn't be starting a major plan revision. So we'll see how that resonates with the regional office, but we're doing some work on that. We are coordinating very closely with the South Dakota counties. There's 5 counties and the state, so we're working very closely with them as we coordinate through this plan. The Forest Service is going to start the LIDAR study, and they're going to fly and they're going to do the study to get some additional information and data that's more recent and accurate that we'll be able to use in the forest plan revision. So that's in the works right now. And then the assessments, the final assessments, are still in Washington at headquarters being reviewed. We don't know when they're going to come back for us to review those final assessments, but we've got a team stood up and we're ready to go. We're coordinating with the counties, Weston and Crook County, and also the state. So our team is stood up and we'll be ready when those assessments come back. I suspect when we get the final assessments, that's when we'll probably hear about their plans for initiating the notice of intent for the forest plan revision. But right now we're unsure of when that is. Are there any questions on that, or Jeannie, did you have anything else to add?
No, Drew goes to this meeting with the cooperators. It's kind of exclusive. It's mostly government agencies. I can listen in on those for now until NEPA starts. I also attend the Resilient Forest meeting, which is usually held in Rapid, and that is open to the public. It's a good exchange of what's been going on, what's happening, what's going on in the future. We get the timber industry comes, usually the utilities come, there's a Forest Service guy that comes. It's real casual and it's very informative.
So are there any questions on the Black Hills, Commissioners?
Yes, ma'am.
I have one other question. I was just at the BLM office here in town, asking some questions about what would be at the meeting August 1st. And they didn't have any copies of the alternative plans that are being put out. So I didn't really find very much out there.
So that's a good point. So the BLM is in the process of developing the alternatives, but the alternatives at this point in time have not been developed and they're pre-decisional. So the public will not be able to see those until the draft EIS comes out. But your commissioners are cooperating agencies, so we will be working outside of that. That's why it's so important for you to express your concerns with the current plan, what's working for you, what's not working for you, because there'll be a period of time that the cooperating agencies, it's set up that way through the through FNRPA, or FLPMA, the Federal Land Management Policy Act. It's kind of part of the process. I know the public doesn't always like it, but government entities are the ones that can be cooperators. So we will work with them to try to influence the plan before you see the alternatives in the draft EIS, which will be out probably after the first of the year.
Okay, thank you.
And
That explains, I'll quit looking for them.
I sent an email to Carrie a couple weeks ago regarding some of this stuff so that she could get it in front of the Republican Party, and but I see Caleb also did recently so too. So, but I don't have everybody's email address to send that stuff to. So
Yeah, that's a good route,
yeah.
perfect route.
Okay.
It's important to let your commissioners know and let Jeannie and I know what's important so we can make sure we address it for you as we move through the plan. And then commissioners, there's a lot going on sage-grouse right now. It's probably more time than we have because I realize we're already over. But at some point, we probably need to allot some more time to talk about sage-grouse. Right now, we are in the middle of the governor's office and the Game and Fish going through an effort through the sage-grouse implementation team. It's a mapping effort that we've talked about before. They extended the comment period to July 28th, and then the next CIGIT meeting is on August 2nd. They are holding three public meetings. The first one was in Gillette last night. It was very well attended. We talked about a lot of things that affect probably proposed expansion areas in Weston County as well. There's two more at the end of this week that will be on the western side of the state. The Wyoming County Commissioners Association will be drafting some comments to submit on behalf of the counties for that state process. So Commissioner Todd, I may reach out to you and just make sure you're aware as our point of contact kind of what's going on there and make sure I'm not missing anything for Weston County. I feel like we don't really have the time to go into specifics today. The other thing is I'm participating on behalf of WCCA representing York County for the BLM effort for the plan amendment. And there is a lot going on there. That information right now is pre-decisional, so it's not something I can talk about with the public. But at some point, Commissioner Todd, I will need to discuss with you kind of where the BLM is heading and making sure that Weston County is fully informed as we move through and develop the alternatives for that plan as well.
Yeah, that's great. And I try to forward your emails on to the other commissioners so that they are aware of what I'm seeing. So
great. I think without going into a lot more detail in sage-grouse, I think that's all I have for today. I apologize, we're behind, so if you need anything, don't hesitate to ask and I'll try to provide it for you.
thank you, Drew. We'll see you later, I guess. Have a good week.
Thanks, Drew.
Thanks, Drew.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeannie, for driving down.
Right, and so Drew lives in Lander. She knows this stuff. She's been doing this stuff for a long time. Way above. But I'm the local person that's going to the meetings and gathering information and stuff, so.
Jeannie dealt with this, and for folks who don't know Jeannie, she was a Crook County Commissioner for a number of years and dealt with this stuff as a commissioner in Crook County, and they were a ranching family over by Aladdin, and I think it's very important stuff to their family too. That
It is,
a lot of
and I
this stuff's
served on the
watched.
National Forest Advisory Board also. I was vice chair when my term was up, so I kind of live and breathe this stuff.
Yeah.
BLM's a little different than Forest Service, but I'm learning, so
Yeah.
it's all the federal government.
So we got two real good gals in our corner for helping with this stuff, and a lot of it is just sit and wait and see what the government comes up with and hope that then we can either learn to live with it or try to fight the things we don't like. But
Well, it's kind of tough when your meetings are the August 1st and August 2nd, and the timeline to get comments in is August 25th.
yeah,
That's an awful quick time for me to give this stuff to Drew and for your commission to get your comments to her to get a letter formulated, but
yeah,
it's the way they work.
appreciate it. All right, we went a little over, but Brandon, thanks folks for coming.
Thank you for your time.
You betcha, sir. Hey, Brown.
Howdy, howdy.
These
Thank you guys
folks
for
are
coming.
excellent.
Yeah.
Take care, yeah.
I think what they forget is that land belongs to
I'm
Wyoming.
gonna stop and visit with your sheriff and your fire, if there's a fire secretary or something like that, because they probably have a contract with BLM.
Hunt down Daniel Tisdale. He'd be the guy to talk to.
Okay, I'll do that, thanks.
Yep. Then Brandon?
How's it going, guys?
Good, you?
All right, just had a few questions for you and some things you probably need to address sooner than later. That canopy over at the parking lot in the annex, it's got to come down. I was pulling the electrical off and that whole thing's moving. I'm afraid that's just going to fall on somebody or someone's car, and then we're going to be liable for the damages. I got 2 bids so far. I can get more. Sean wants $30,000 to do it all, take the concrete out, all that. And I got Julio is at $28,640. I was going to get a hold of like the Francises, see if they could give a better price or not, or if you guys had any ideas on who wants to contact as far as demoing that and getting that cut out.
What's the scope to I mean, what are we asking to take out? Just the canopy?
The canopy and the cement.
The dividers to keep the cars in line? Okay. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Are they gonna, in that, or when they remove that concrete, where they
Julio's got it bid to where he'll refill with rebar back and put cement
concrete
back over it.
So, yeah, we talked about this a couple weeks ago, needing to get that thing down.
I just, it seems like a lot.
It's a lot, yeah. Yeah, it does.
It has to be done.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jerry.
Well, since our budget's tight right now, is it a possibility that we just take the canopy down at this point and do the cement work later?
I think so.
So Sean bid that out at $10,250. Julio didn't break his down. I'll have to ask him to give me a breakdown as far as
And then
the
when we have
separation.
money, come back and do the, because we're just making a parking lot for people, and I realize we don't, Michael may disagree, but I don't know that we need that right now. I know the canopy needs to come down because the other day I was over by it, the wind was blowing, and it was literally moving. So,
Well, I was up on top of it, taking out the electrical, and yeah, it was shaking on me while I was up there.
don't park over there.
Well, you can, just don't park underneath it. I wouldn't.
Way for it, yeah. And last night during the storm, the rain, the rain was just going right through it.
Well, yeah, there's a 3 by 3 foot hole in the roof of it.
So, I guess, you think it's something we should take care of now, like, because it could be a hazard? I mean, we could accept Sean's bid and yeah, there's plenty of money there.
Make a motion?
Yeah, and I would recommend out of building and grounds.
And to do just the canopy?
Yep.
I make a motion that we accept Hurricane Services or Sean's bid to remove the canopy only. That bid, what is it, for $10,500?
$10,250.
$10,250. And suspend the other portion of that work until further.
Sounds fine. And then
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded. Discussion on this motion?
Nope, not at the same time.
Okay. All those in favor, you got it wrote down? Of the,
Do we want to add a motion to take it out of building and grounds or anything about that?
would it be okay with the motion maker in the second if we add to that to say out of building and grounds?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
All right, I'll get a hold of Sean and get that settled. And then I guess I just had a question as far as like, if I have to get stuff, what are my limits? I don't.
Steve used to kind of ask that too, and it was like, well, was that what his was? What do you want? I guess.
No, I just want to know, so I know what
So he knows
what I'm doing, what I can do, and what I need to come to y'all for, right?
Yeah. I don't know. We gave Steve that leeway. I don't really see why not give him. Brandon the same.
Whatever Steve's was.
Anything over 5 would worry me, just
Okay.
because of,
That was my basic questions, and that's what I had for now for y'all.
So 5,000? Yep,
board still feel okay with
I'm okay with that.
That's where we had Steve.
that? Yeah. Go ahead, Derek.
Since we're, trying to keep things tight, I guess if you had 2 or 3 things for 5.
Right.
That would be an issue.
That would be
Please come tell us.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Well, because I wasn't sure, like, I know like there's that crack on the annex that needs to get fixed before next winter, or it's going to take off a bunch of that stucco off the side. I didn't know if Steve had already had that approved, or
See, and that's the other caveat there, because if I was kind of more under the understanding that the 5 was like, okay, it's got to be done, and just get it done. Whereas if we just give you the leeway, it's kind of like prepaying in a format that without pre-approval through the board on certain things. So, I mean, if it can wait a couple months, then I don't know. I would probably be more in favor of it coming in front of the board. Would you folks feel the same way? I mean, but if it's an emergency basis, I mean, get it taken care of, or get a hold of the chair. And I think the chair would have the prior.
no, that makes
authority.
sense. I mean, if it's an emergency,
Yeah.
I can go up to 5,000. If not, I need to come to you guys. That makes complete sense.
Yeah, I mean, but for, like Vera said, if it's a fix that needs done and it's not every month.
I would hope not.
Yeah,
unless
yeah.
Stuff really starts falling apart,
Yeah,
I guess.
yeah.
I mean, I know in the future we're going to have to look at that wall beside the library. For some reason, Brenda thought that was the city's issue, and I don't know. I would think that would be ours because it's part of the lawn before the sidewalk, but I don't know. I guess that'd be something for
Falling
you
in.
guys to. Well, it's crumbling. As I'm blowing the sidewalks and stuff, I'm just taking off more of it. And then you've got the rock wall or the stone wall behind the sheriff's office that's starting to come out from underneath it. And then obviously the side, you guys already knew about the sidewalks in between the detention center and the library. That's something that will need to be addressed fairly soon.
Go ahead. Go.
I don't know I think it might have just got lost in the shuffle, but I brought it up twice. We have 2 outdoor lights, one in this corner of this building.
Okay.
It's an LED, and I was told, well, it's an LED, so it lasts longer. The photo eye is out, or it's not shutting off on the timer. And the one straight up above, if you went outside right now, you'd see
they're
they're
both
being
on.
in full blast. We need to get that figured out, because
Okay.
it's obviously, at some point, if it goes out, somebody's gonna have to get up there and replace the bulb and do all that, so.
Well, I'll
But
get-
it is currently on if you walk the building back there. I checked it when I came in earlier.
I'll get a hold of 21 Electric, see if they can send Phil over to.
I don't know if it's a photo eye or a timer, I'm not sure what the system's on, but they're definitely on, and they shouldn't be during the day.
Right. And that's all of them, or?
No,
Just those
these
two?
2. Yep, you won't miss them.
Okay.
And that was something I had told Steve before, but I know all that transition.
And I did not translate.
Yeah, no big deal, so.
Yeah, Vera.
I don't know if everybody knows about the parking lot that they're coming back to.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I did get a call back from Dakota Asphalt, and they're going to be coming back in the next week or two. Chris, I guess the owner, came down and actually looked, and I showed him everything, and they're going to clean it and redo it.
Yeah, perfect.
And bring a striper with them then.
So he was also concerned about leaving it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, he saw his parts already peeling up and different things. And
Yeah.
Thanks, Brandon. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you, sir. Appreciate it.
Have a good rest of it.
You too. Moving on to old business, I guess. Title 25. Anybody?
I'll start it. They came before, the board had the hospital come before us last week, and currently right now I'm talking with the hospital about doing the Title 25 at least temporarily. They're gonna, huh?
With your van.
Yeah. We're gonna run it through the hospital because I felt like it would be a conflict of interest as a commissioner to run it through as a county, and I have to rescind myself from any signing vouchers or so forth. So what would happen, as at my request, was in order to be transparent, it would be run through the hospital. The hospital would then submit their bill because they do a Title 25 submission anyway. and they would pay for that. I'll be meeting with the board on the 20th about that. What I asked for was, I don't know how worthwhile it is or what the issues are with it, but I said I would do it for a year and see how that goes. And that would relieve the problem from the hospital and from, I got Brian's blessing on that, and if we needed somebody, he just doesn't have the driver or be able to do it. He would make sure that somebody went along with me on that. So that would kill two birds with one stone. So I wanted to make sure everybody knew that.
So, question.
Yep.
So if you do it, you're saying that Brian is in agreement to take someone from his office to ride?
If it's
with-
necessary,
if it's
if you get
necessary.
somebody that's going to be a problem, he said he would throw somebody on there and do it. It'd be a lot easier than him having to do two. And he was very helpful with that. I did speak, apparently Roger, before this had been doing it. I did speak a little bit with them, and Brian did as well, so he gave me some ideas on what's needed. I have no idea. I'm doing it to just temporarily relieve a problem, and we'll just go from there.
So would Brian's office also have a fee to charge then for, say, a deputy's hours, or?
It would probably go through the hospital is what we're setting up. So the hospital would then submit their voucher at that point. And that's a rarity. It's not needed most times, as I'm sure Deputy Fields could tell you. It's not really needed. It's just one of those if it is needed.
It was me. I don't know how you spoke about the
Yeah.
portion, or if it just comes through our overtime.
Yep.
Do you guys ever send two, or do you just take them? Like if you guys were to take them?
It depends on where we're going and the severity of it.
Yep.
So it varies. We have to.
The hospital has requested two, so I'll have a driver and somebody with them, even if it's not a officer. We'll have two, just in case.
Be interested to see what you guys can come up with.
Yeah, I have no idea. It's new ground, but we're going to figure it out and see if it works. And then each year we'll put it up for bid, so someone can actually bid against me to do it, and that way it's open and transparent to the public as well. The public has an opportunity to bid on it now. It's just no one's come forward to do it. It's been put out there for. So.
Well, maybe they can come up with an idea, and it can be put out for bid, and then you can.
Exactly.
Yeah, if you win bid.
Yeah.
At least it was done open that way.
Exactly. That's why I wanted to make sure it was out there. But we are meeting the 20th to try to finish that up, and at least it'll cover it for a year. So.
Thanks, though.
Yep.
TV, or whatever you want to call it. This.
Oh, yeah, thank you. TV. So I had a couple calls yesterday. I did talk to Becky about it, and earlier in the day we hadn't talked about it afterwards because obviously when I got back I had calls. But the argument was made that if it's a public meeting, then why is it not? We have the opportunity to put it on the public. A Zoom meeting, whatever you want to call it. I made the point last night to tell them that, well, that really didn't last very long. But it was all of them said, well, that's irrelevant. A public meeting should be open to the public, and a few of them said they would have liked to have watched the meeting yesterday. It wasn't considered a board meeting, a commissioner meeting, so I brought that up as well. I don't have a problem with it. I just didn't understand when they said we have never done it, which we hadn't, why we hadn't, and if there's a good reason for it. And I did check. There's no statutes that say we can't do anything. If it's a public meeting, we are able to Zoom meeting it, and we should make it available to the public if that's. But I think our board should be consistent on what we do too. If we're going to do it, we need to do it. If we're not going to do it, then we need to explain why we're not doing it and not do it. I don't know how anybody else feels about it.
Yeah.
It's just like when we have budget workshops, those aren't televised. It was not a meeting. So all meetings are, and that wasn't a meeting. So it's just like when you guys have your budget workshops.
But it is open to the public for that meeting. That was set up for the public to come and attend.
Right, and just like our budget workshops are.
That's true, but if we have the opportunity to show it, my feeling is, like one gentleman told me, hey, I could have watched it from work, and I couldn't. this time. So there is people that can't attend these meetings and make time to be here. The discussion I have is again, why is it a big deal to do it if we were going to do it?
It's not. We'll just put everything on, I guess. I mean, if people are wanting to sit through a 2-minute meeting, they can sit through a 2-minute meeting, whatever.
And I agree with that, whether it's a special meeting or a regular meeting. We have the technology, so there's really no reason we can't do that. It's just more transparency on our part.
On a side note, I did get a couple compliments, by the way, on everybody seems to be going with the system now and it's working for them. So that's where they were going with that. They said that we have a great Zoom system now that's actually working, they said, so let's use it.
All right.
Sounds good to me. I mean, the more things we can put on there available to anyone who would like to, I don't think it's a lot more inconvenient for us to utilize the resource we've already got.
All right. Anything else on that?
Do we need to put that on old business for next time to be able to vote on it, since we?
No, I think just.
Or is it just administrative?
Yeah, I think she can just create a meeting.
Okay.
It'll be a year from now, but yeah.
Well, we may have other special.
No, I'm just saying
public
for a
meetings
budget
or-
meeting
yeah,
again,
yeah.
it'll be a yearly thing, so.
All right. Move on to new business. Appoint joint powers board designee.
No, it has to be one of you guys.
No, I'm trying to figure out somebody else. I know.
So could someone tell me exactly what we're doing here?
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
So the Joint Powers Board has to be a member, or it's going to be the sheriff or his or her designee, the Newcastle police chief or his or her designee, and the town of Upton police chief or his or her designee. So there's going to be a 5-member board, right? The 2 other members of the Joint Powers Board are going to be appointed by a collective decision of a selection committee. And part of that selection committee has to be one from the Board of Commissioners, one from the Newcastle City Council, one from the Upton Council, one from the Weston County Fire District, one from the Newcastle Fire District, and one from the Upton Fire District. So what we're doing is one of you guys has to be part of that selection committee under the Joint Powers Agreement to select 2 at-large positions.
That makes sense, thank you. With that, I think it's kind of a no-brainer. I feel like Dawn, Chairman Taylor, was at all the meetings discussing dispatch and probably understands what's going on better than the rest of us. So I would move to nominate Chairman Taylor as our designee.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to appoint Don Taylor, not chairman, but Commissioner Don Taylor to the Joint Powers Board designee selection committee. Discussion. Do you want it?
Yeah, I'll be happy
Okay.
to do it.
Any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Volunteer boards, Vera, you have the floor.
Thank you. This has been on my mind for quite some time, and then after the board training, I had 2 or 3 board members come up to me and say, you know, we've never had a commissioner come to our meetings. And that really bothered me. And I know that some people have the opinion that we don't micromanage our volunteer boards, but most counties, I believe, have liaisons from their commission that do go to the meetings and attend and then come back and report to the rest of the board and to the public what is going on at their meetings. And the dictionary Merriam-Webster dictionary says what a liaison is, communication for establishing and maintaining mutual understanding and cooperation. So we wouldn't be micromanaging. I think we put these boards in place. Yes, they're volunteers, but we did it today. We put people in place to be on these boards. Some of them we give money in budgets, large budgets, and I think as commissioners, it's part of our responsibility to make sure that things are running smoothly on their end, or just as support. So we stay in the loop with what they're doing, with that they're running things well. I think if we would have been doing that more, there's been a couple problems lately that maybe if we would have been involved, even just going to their meetings, maybe it would have helped things. Maybe we could have seen these problems coming. And helped everyone out. So I would like us to be thinking, I know I just added this today, we can't vote on it today, but I'd really like you to be thinking about volunteering to a couple of the volunteer boards to go be a liaison, whether you go to maybe instead of going to, if they have monthly meetings, weekly meetings, however, at least if they have weekly meetings at least once a month, or if they have monthly meetings at least a quarter, one per quarter, and come back and report to the rest of the commission as to their activities and how things are going. The other thing would be to get to know these people on these boards, so we just have better communication and knowledge.
So are you thinking going to these meetings like city council, fair board, mallow board?
Well, like planning and zoning and mallow board and the fair board and historical society, whatever we decide to do. There's a lot of boards out there, and maybe some of them don't do as much financially, and maybe we just go once in a while to theirs. But I think as commissioners, that's part of our responsibility. We put these people in place and then we just forget about them. That's not right.
And then I'm trying to put together what you're thinking is.
Sure.
Is then the beginning of the month, like we do our department heads, we report on this, whatever we went to this meeting and this is what they're working on, projects type thing.
Right.
I think that would be a really good idea, actually.
Anything else on that? All right. Anything from the public? I guess not. We do that at the beginning. All right. I guess adjournment is in order then.
But there's just so much stuff I find so humorous in these meetings. But a lot of that is because of how much, and I'm going to be very frank on this, how much idiocy happens. And I sit there going, you got kidding.
No, that's ignorant.
and I zip it, but I still get that chuckle sometimes through. And that's hard to not have in those videos sometimes.
And I didn't have the chuckle. I had the eye roll and the head shake.
Oh, I still probably have that. You just don't get to see it on camera.